now I want to talk about data enrichment models and sort of thinking through cost optimization versus performance, or I guess really trying to say when I mean performance, what I mean is accuracy and coverage versus cost. So sometimes you want to spend a lot of money to get the best possible data, the best possible accuracy, the most often, right? If you, for example, really want good mobile data, you'll pay tons of money for a mobile number, like 50 cents each. It could be a lot of money, maybe 70 cents each. Or you can go for a more budget option and not spend so much mobile numbers, right? So thinking through when you should spend money on really good data versus when you should save is a sort of a strategic question for your organization. But I can speak out how we think about it for our customers and how we're able to apply these rule sets with our custom dashboard here. So we have two models that we typically build. I mean, it's custom for every customer, but most customers have, let's say, two different models. They have a deep enrich model and a cost optimization model. So one of these each apply, and why would you use one or the other? So let's start off with an ICP enrichment, an ideal customer profile enrichment. That means you're going to take your customers in HubSpot, which might be tens, hundreds, or thousands of records, but surely not, I'm guessing not tens or hundreds of thousands of records, unless you're like a product-led growth company. Maybe if you're a product-led growth company, this wouldn't apply. Maybe in this case, you wouldn't do the deep enrichment. But let's say for enterprise customers or your best customers, right? You want to do an ICP study to understand what makes these customers my best customers. I don't know. The data you have in your CRM is limited, and your ability to run a study with maybe a data scientist is only as good as data that you have, the coverage and the accuracy. If you don't trust it, it won't really matter. So that would be a case where you'd want to apply, like for example, in the last video, I spoke about how we have this multi-step AI verified enrichment function where we can really spend more money, but get the best possible LinkedIn company URL, for example. So that's more expensive than a normal enrichment. But if you're doing an ICP study, it's important. Yeah. So in those cases where you want to have really granular, accurate data and you're willing to pay more for it for a customer record, you can use the deep enrich model. But that might not apply in a case where you're trying to do a more broad enrichment of your whole database. For example, you might have 200,000 records in HubSpot and you're trying to enrich them just to have a light idea of which records you should give to the sales team. So in that case, you don't need to worry so much about having the perfect this or that or the other, where you're going to spend a lot more money for every single data point for the best possible data. Or it could just be that you enrich less data points. For a customer, for the study, you want to have 20 different data points. But for the use case of giving a prospect list, a qualified prospect list to the sales team, you only need like 4 or 5, much cheaper per record. And it balances out because in the ICP study case, in the deep enrich model case, you're spending more per record, but there's less records to enrich. And in the cost optimization model, you're spending less per record, but there's more records to enrich. So the cost shakes out to be not always even, but this is a really good way to balance accuracy and data coverage with price. And what we built over here, now that what is the screen that I've been showing you? So in our sculpted dashboard that we use to connect Clay to HubSpot, because of Clay is very solid for enrichments, and they have a basic HubSpot integration. But for more advanced use cases, we have a custom app that we built, which can really push Clay to the limit and make it much easier to integrate with HubSpot, being mindful of these enrichment rules and these different use cases. One of them is enrichment models. So here we can set how we want to enrich, if it's an account model, a contact model, or a custom object down the road. And we basically define all the enrichments you want to do for your, let's say, your ICP study, and all the enrichments you want to do for your broader prospect account cleanup initiative, whatever it is. And we can then use, for example, the lifecycle stage. So for over here, we could say full enrichment dependency variables. It could be like, this says like, lifecycle stage, and then this is like customer, right? So if your HubSpot lifecycle stage value is customer, then we'll apply the deep enrich model. And if it's prospect or MQL or something, whatever it is, we do the lighter enrich model. That's how we think about enrichment models. And so during the client setup phase, we will understand how they want to treat different types of records, and then build those different enrichment functions and call on them depending on a value in your HubSpot CRM. So we can always apply the right level of enrichment for the specific record. Hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully it's helpful. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.